that so much has happened since last year when we went to the polls, and we understand that it is now a year ever since Museveni stole the victory of the National Unity Platform. So I want us to bring us to speed. Ever since you got this position, what have you planned in terms of the communication strategies? How are you planning as a party in terms of, fighting back to reclaim the victory that was stolen by Museveni and his people? And for people who are out there, they would like to know that, are we moving? Are we static? Or are we moving? Are we static? Or are we moving forward? Or are we a wee bit backward? Are we static, or have we achieved something for this period of time ever since our victory has been stolen and ever since you took on this position? So you can you can let us know, because I've seen so much people, especially the interviews I've seen you do. People are trying to make us look, or make the party look like it hasn't achieved anything. It's not moving anywhere. It's backward. Some have even gone so radical, saying that there is no one in Uganda that is fighting against Museveni. Literally saying like there is no opposition in the country. I wouldn't say that we are the opposition. We are the option. But some people go as far as saying that literally Museveni is enjoying his ride. So what's your take on those issues?
I want to appreciate you, first of all, for those very, very pertinent issues. And you bring my existence to this office can only be assessed by the public. I cannot make assessment of myself. But what I can say is that with my boss, Joel Senyonyi, we have drawn a lot of programs. For example, we want to create many Joel Senyonyis. We want to create many Waiswas, such that this information that we disseminate is not monopolized to our offices. We want to decentralize the information flow from the national level where it is to the grassroots. So we are looking at growing different factor trees that will later report to the communications desk. Of course, what is important about communication is that times have changed. I'm right now speaking to you. You are very far. We are equally. I'm in Africa. You are in Europe. So there is a new advancement of ICT technology. Now we have a young generation that is apt the task of understanding the dynamics of technology, but many of them also need capacity building. And as a young generation, you realize that we might be formidable to the cause, but as a generation, having been drawn to the leadership cradle by our generational leader, there are certain aspects where capacity must be built. And in that respect, the capacity, I think, where we must all enhance our energies and synergies is on communication, because communication gives the foundation and basis of what you believe in and where you want to project yourself as you move. So we are looking at recruitment of more people in the department to handle the different sectors. The first interview I saw you did with the Secretary General, you were tasking him on the issue of the website. We have since sat and looked at all those components that are information disseminating and how best they can move in the first of all, securing them that they're not tampered by the state, because the state, as you may realize, even our own civic education programs, they have started with their handwork to see that they are interrupted. So we want to secure more secure space on the internet as a platform, as the National Unity Platform, and advance our information on all those platforms that many of you have requested, but have not been coming henceforth. To the public, I can assure you that I think in the next by a fortnight. Our teams are still working around the clock on all those handles, and I'm sure, and I can certainly tell you that within a fortnight, whatever platform we must have as National Unity Platform will be up and running. This morning, we did have a meeting of our NOC Media executive team, and these are part of the endorsements that we have agreed upon. So it comes lively that at this time, I am addressing you on that particular matter. On the issue of are we static, are we moving? We are moving, definitely. I can tell you even the numbers are growing of support on ground. What is important and what we have been focused to is organizing the revolution. Organizing the revolution. Because Fasil, toppling a dictator is not a task that you will go through overnight. It is a task you will go through, first of all, with resilience, with planning, but most importantly, organization. One of the issues I have found that we must address as a people, first of all, even within us, is the desire to have virtual power. The desire to have virtual power. The desire to be the person calling the shots, even when there are no shots to be called. That has affected most people in the struggle. The desire to be the one around the president. Now, these are factors that have created internal disunity, where people have struggled to take up different roles without even having hindsight, and that has led to them clashing. But we have managed the same as well. We have different institutions, and we have set up different committees that handle different discrepancies. However, on the real question of have we moved and what we are doing to unseat and reclaim our victory, my brother Fazil, I can assure you that if we started this journey and it was a journey of 20,000 kilometers, I can assure you we have moved the 17,000 kilometers. The 3,000 kilometers remaining are very bumpy, they are dusty, they are deadly, but I can assure you we shall also persevere through them, definitely. Genome 7 has, when somebody says that it is like there is no opposition, that person must be living in a different country. For the first time, we have tasked Genome 7 on a number of issues, and our tasking, of course, is not the same. People were used to this old modus operandi of running on the streets, being tear gassed, but for the last 20 years, Mr. Fazil, those styles have not yielded results. And as students of that, we have been quite very mindful not to fall in that very category where we are doing the same things, because we believe you can only do different things. You can only do things differently from the original way things have been done to see a change, and that is exactly what we are doing. Mm-hmm. We need. We in the last year we had over 2,000 inmates. The numbers have reduced. That is a plus for the National Unity Platform. We have also managed to unmask Genome 7. Because Genome 7, what people forget, for the last 30 years, how did he have his first 4 years? He had his first 4 years by asking Ugandans that was the time he needed to prepare the country for other processes, and him as a soldier, he would go back and sit. He lied. After the 4 years, he sought for 5 years to organize processes of forming of the Constitution. He lied. 1990 to 1995. When they passed the Constitution, it had the age limit. It had the term limit. What did he do? He chose to break the term limit, and later also such that he would end the cap of having 2 terms, and later now in 2017 breaking the age limit. Now, he has been using the facade of democracy internationally, because we are in an international, we are a globe. Countries do not work in isolation, economically, militarily, health, even education. The budget of Uganda is 43 trillion, but I can tell you that half of that budget is financed by the donor countries through grants, donations, and other types of facilitation as we get it from the international community. This time round, I can tell you, we have been able to task even the international community through different platforms, inclusive of your platform. I have heard you, Fazil, so many times, ask people to rush and tweet throughout a tweet to those that are still helping the longevity of Genome 7. You have managed, as National Unity Platform, to disentangle the connectivity of the regime from many of their sources. Some are still working with him, but others have realized that actually the person we have been working with is not the person we are talking about. He is a different person. He's a dictator, he's an anarchist, he is a nepotic person, and that has been as a result of this new effort, as a new grouping that we have put up. And people will always castigate you before you even talk about the people on ground. Anybody who says that we are not working to his fall is lying to himself. Fazil, I'll begin with you yourself. You just left your job to come and do an interview. That is not going to pay you, but it is going to add a voice in removing the dictator. The problem our friends have, many of those that were in this struggle together, they assume that there is a different type of magic that will be employed to defeat the dictator. These small things that we individually do, these small things that we do as a team, these small things that we think of and put into consideration, those protests, those write-ups that you do, these interviews, they have been of addition and they had never happened. I will ask you, Fazil, where you were the last 10 years, because Uganda has been in this kind of challenge, but you are now more involved, and that is as a result of the National Unity Platform and People Power, that people are now more involved back home in the affairs of their country. It was not like that then. It was very, very hard. And this is not only in the diaspora. I can tell you, it reciprocates even in the villages. Today, if you went to my village, you know, they had to arrest Bobby Wine in Luuka because of numbers. You know, they were preaching for a very long time the story that we are in urban areas. But we demystified that, and that is a plus for us, that they had to arrest your presidential candidate far away, over 120 kilometers in the deep state of Busoga. Now that informs you that the country is not on the same page it was. I have told you, out of your great work, National Unity Platform, you had an increment of over 2 million Ugandans on the voters register. Forget about the theft, forget about whatever happened, but you managed to convince 2 million Ugandans to be an addition to the voter register. And that explains the results we got. If you look at the about 3.2 million that Messenger was getting in the previous elections, and you see that the Abakama was supposed to give us 3.8, and we have a 54.9 as returned the results of the National Unity Platform and the win of Kyagulanyi Robert Sentamu, it is clear that the 2 million we were talking about were not virtual, they were real. And I want to tell you also that if you look at the way, if you are in Uganda today and you're talking about, we are no longer opposition, we are nearly a rebel outfit. Let me repeat this. The National Unity Platform is no longer treated as opposition. It is treated as a rebel outfit. In Kampala today, to counter the National Unity Platform, it's the military. It is the police. Now, when you're tackling a dictator, I have told friends, and this is my personal opinion, sometimes you want him to bring out all his best. Once he brings out all his best, then you will know how to handle each of them. On the campaign trail also, we were handling the lead cream, those that they thought were the best in the Uganda police. But by the time we came home, all of them had been, there's no seniority that could explain their existence, because they had been put to book, they had handled the campaign very wrongly, and it led to the sacking of the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Sabit Mzee, simply because he could not torture Ugandans. And for me, that is a plus. We have military leaders, including the head of military intelligence, on a sanctioned list by the United States. Now, somebody who does not understand when we call about what we call sanctioning an officer under the Magnitsky Law, I heard you gave a great lecture about that, is that this person is declared persona non grata in all other areas apart from his home jurisdiction, where they think he still exists because of his might and power. But elsewhere, it means that he does not have liberty. And this does not only stop at him, it goes up. And also we look out for the properties that have been attained by those people. In Uganda, there is massive corruption. But this corruption still is not, it does not trickle down to the country. They export what they have stolen in terms of money, in terms of infrastructure development. And to us, now that we have reached that level where people are not allowed to invest the loot that they have had, then it gives you a red line for where you're going. And I can assure the country we are in progress, and we shall definitely remove this gentleman.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that answer. There is also, now I would like to go so much here. So most people are saying that you can intermix Simuko with Luganda, but so far we are doing good, which is good. And I wanted to ask something. There is headlines or stories, cover stories that the New Vision has been running the entire week about a crisis in the National Unity Platform, a crisis about this and that in one way or the other. And I think you have been following these particular stories. And of course, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu has spoken widely about this particular issue, as well as your boss, Mr. Senyonyi. And so, and the party position, of course, is well known. But I would like to emphasize on this particular point, for you to emphasize to us, the party position, number one, and number two, why would you think the government is coming up with such headlines in their own paper that are unsubstantiated and things like that? But also to have pushback on this particular issue. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you very well.
Yeah, and also to have pushback on this particular issue. Some people, the freedom of speech activists, especially on different social media platforms, Twitter and Facebook, they had pushback towards the party, saying that if NUP, cries that they are being gagged that Museveni is gagging the media, to prevent the party, to prevent especially a person like you to be hosted on different TV shows or radio shows, to prevent Bobi Wine's music to be played, and also different articles that are being written by the National Unity Platform not to be published in different newspapers, and then you blame Museveni for gagging media as well as gagging journalists. But what the pushback people are putting out there, the freedom of speech, quote unquote, activists, they are saying that isn't this another form of gag on the media? Like, just because New Vision is not writing stories that are not in the best interest of the party, then this is the National Unity Platform. So now you are fighting back and saying that, okay, now this is propaganda. But when Museveni complains about the monitor, we say, oh yeah, monitor is on the right side. I don't know if I'm understood very well. I'm being understood very well.
I
So you get the idea, but then also there is pushback that
now
that we should let people write. We should let journalists write whatever they think is right for the public to consume, and let the public decide. So, what would be your take on that particular matter?
What I enjoyed in my law class in criminal law was the notion of actors.